everybody, wherever you might be. Welcome. This, weird start of 2022 is NBL Overtime. Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved. The Breakers get a win. The Phoenix get deeper. Santa's been watching, and there will be a yes or no. And there's a lot of excitement around the world in world sport when someone is released, or at least is eligible, to get out of health and safety protocols. I can barely speak, hence my excitement to see Homicide back. How you doing, big man? How you feeling?
I'm feeling fantastic. Glad to be back. Let's get into it. Plenty to discuss.
All right, studs and duds. That's plural this week. You finally added a couple other people into it. Hello to you, my man.
Just for you, my man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. How you doing?
Great to have you back.
Glad to be back.
Great to see you feeling good. Only one game over the weekend, but a bunch of games coming up, lots to discuss.
Big, just off the top, yes or no? Did you watch last week's show?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. That's all that matters. Let's start then. Let's start with the New Zealand Breakers. It's been well documented the really rough 2 years they've had, even rougher than so many of us around the country here in Australia, doing a great job. They've been unlucky in some games. They went to Brisbane. Yancy Wetzel, no doubt we're going to get to our man very shortly. They set up that big lead. They got a little nervous down the stretch, but in the end, they get their first dub of the year, NBL 22. And I did like their social media work where they said, can we kickstart the ladder in 2022? Big win for the Breakers boys in some very nice uniforms.
Well, look, they were nice, weren't they? Any wins, a big win. When you haven't won over, of course, your first 6 games. And I liked this from the Breakers. Yancy Wetzel said it at halftime. He said, we've made a real focus of improving at the defensive end during our work while we haven't had many games, and they came out and they put that on display. Locked Brisbane up early doors, put a bit more pressure on, created some turnovers, and geez, didn't Yancy Wetzel eat around the basket? Created a bunch of that on his own back as they rolled it to him in the block, and also got a bunch from some helping hands, especially from Jeremiah Martin, to 8 assists, and a bunch of them were to Yancy Wetzel. So really impressive performance from New Zealand and something to build on. That's a win, a little bit of good feelings, confidence, momentum. See if they can piece a couple in a row now.
What I really liked about their team performance, as Yancy said at halftime, they focused on defense. They forced 21 turnovers. Anytime you force your opponent to 21 turnovers, technically you should win the game. So it was a great performance. Yancy Wetzel was a man amongst boys. That there was no matchup for him. He did whatever he wanted to do. Great performance for him individually. The team showed up. Peyton Siva, good performance, solid. I think that's probably his best game of the season so far. 11-4-4. And Jeremiah Martin down the stretch was hitting some key buckets, slicing and dicing in the paint and finishing in traffic. So good team performance. But the thing is,
here we go.
Can they continue this type of team defense? It was the best showing defensively, and they got to win. So obviously, buy in. We talked about this 2 weeks ago. They're at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to everything, to be honest with you. So at some point, you probably got to kick it, and as a team, you got to look at yourself in the mirror, collectively and individually, and get it together.
One, you mentioned it, you alluded to it. It's great to see them get a win. And I'm not saying it would have happened on purpose, but subconsciously, if you're going through what they are doing away from home and the L's continue to mount up, and at some point, it was probably to get to that point where it's like, everything is hard. Every practice, every shoot around, every game. But you mentioned it there. It was kind of cool. That's the crew they put together. We spoke in the off-season. Of course, Abercrombie's still missing, and defensively, he's their main guy, clearly. But to be able to see that the balance of this roster that we're really impressed with in the off-season, Siva played his best game, no doubt. We all love what Basson doing. Yancy Wetzel eating. It was cool to see. So there is no doubt, hopefully, consistency with players on the court, which is sometimes out of their own hands for obvious reasons, makes a lot difference. And it was great to see it all come together in a huge win. Every game's on the road, but to go to Brisbane's really tough to do and win.
We're all enjoying the rise of Yancy Wetzel.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we go back a little while.
Well,
you know what I mean? This show and Yancy Wetzel.
Where's our Breakers Wetzel jersey?
We go back a little while with the pretzel.
Yeah,
he is NBL Overtime's own.
Bloody oath.
He is playing at an all-NBL level.
He is.
Right now, most improved player, I mean, you could probably just hand him the trophy right now.
He's balling.
Majuk Dang's in that conversation as well. But, I mean, they just couldn't handle him. They played him single coverage from opening tip till the final buzzer, and he just munched on a buffet of post catches, quick rips, really nice moves in the block, and then, of course, pick and roll with Jeremiah Martin down the stretch. We saw last season with him and Kiefer Sykes how dynamic, how difficult he is to defend in those pick and roll actions. Well, with Jeremiah Martin, Peyton Seaver, it's very similar. Great signing by the Breakers. Bring the big Kiwi back home on a multi-year deal. Make him a kind of like a building block piece there in the middle, and he's coming up trumps.
I think we know how talented he is. I'm not saying he was raw last year, because that's 100% not what I'm saying, but just watching it, he looks a lot more polished this year. He was great last year, but just a bit more maturity, the way that he just picks his moments. And you're right, he just bullied them. He bullied them from opening tip to the end of the game, and it's not for the first time this year, and I'm almost certain it won't be for the last. But Brisbane Bullets, all right? It's not inconceivable. We've spoken about this, and I've raised it. They might have the best 3 players in the top 10 in the league in Sobey, Franks and Patterson. But inconsistency has plagued this team ever since they come back into the league, in particular the last few years when they have got a talented lineup. Now, you can blame injuries at different times, and we always find excuses for teams that we do think can be talented. But this is a game that they should have won. They should, before the game, this is the game that Brisbane, that you spoke about a couple of weeks ago, we're all starting to think, here we go. We could have another team emerging as an NBL championship contender, and they get beat. And it's the inconsistency, not just from week to week, but quarter to quarter, that continues to haunt them, even with a new coach.
They're not a championship contending team.
Okay.
This is why a couple weeks ago, when they won in Perth, I was not impressed. I need consistency. You know what I mean? And we didn't get that. You can't have, against a team with no wins, 21 turnovers at home and come out and play like that. I'm not buying no excuse, oh, we didn't play games. Must-win games, especially at home. We know this league is tough as hell. We know this. You got to come out and play, or this is going to happen. This is why I respect the NBL so much, and so many people really don't understand when I say a lot. I said this is the second best league in the world outside the NBA. And again, I'm going to explain why. Don't show up and watch what happens with a team 0-6 come to your house and beat you. That's why. You have to show up every game. You don't show up, you're getting a loss. My classic example right there.
Overreaction. See Luke. See Williams.
Overreaction.
Guilty. Hang on.
21
Guilty.
turnovers at home.
Hang on.
Guilty as charged.
But it's
you
not.
guys are guilty as
Explain
charged.
this. Tell me how.
Well, it's almost like having COVID, being positive and afflicted by a respiratory illness in the lead up to for a elite sporting game in our league, as competitive as you just outlined, isn't ideal for preparation.
21 turnovers. Is Bryce Cotton losing that game? Is Vic Law losing that game? That's the difference. I'm holding these stars accountable.
I'm just saying.
You cannot lose a game to a team 0-6 and play bad. 21 turnovers?
They're the best 0-6 team
bro.
we've ever seen in the NBL.
0-6 is 0-6, man.
They're much better than what their record suggested, and they're always going
No, they're not. You 0-6.
They're always
No, they're not. They suck on defense.
The
No,
Breakers.
they are not.
And I agree they're not a championship contending team, the Bullets, but they're a playoff contending team. They're in that mix, no doubt about it. They're the team that beat the Wildcats in the jungle. They're the team that beat your Illawarra Hawks a couple of weeks ago, and you don't understand about the Illawarra Hawks game, but the rest of us know how good they are. They're that team.
Yeah.
They had COVID right throughout the team, messed them up. That's tough to come out and play. So
I'm not buying that.
Let's have a look at what this team's like once they get their legs back.
I'm not
Now,
buying that. Not 21 turnovers. I'm not buying that.
I buy that can have an effect on a game, okay, or on your play. I 100% understand that. But my inconsistency issues with the Brisbane, it's 3 or 4 years now. Well, like this is not
This is nothing new.
This is not just this weekend. Like
This is nothing new.
Last
This is
year,
what they do.
We sat there and we thought this team's going to go on a
But
roll.
you're
Look at the
bringing
talent.
you're
A
bringing
year
it up on the
before-
back of this loss,
But
which means you're overreacting to this loss.
so you're telling me this is a different Brisbane Bullets than the one we've seen the last 2 or 3 years, where the inconsistency plagued them in games they should have won.
No, we haven't seen enough evidence to suggest that they're different in that regard. No.
That's my point. So what happened on Sunday? And I legitimately believe they got the 3 of the top 10 players in the league, which should make them a championship contender.
They don't have 3 top 10 players on their team.
Who's not in it?
Nathan Sobey, that's the only one they got.
Really?
That's it.
Franks?
You want to tell me?
Yeah.
Tell me
Is that
10 players they better than right now.
Wow.
Hold on, that's not. He'd need to tell you like
Tell me 10.
90 players. They're better than.
Tell me.
Let me go back and let me do it next week so I can sit down and go through the league.
Look.
There's 2 players in Illawarra right now. That's there, right? Cooks in Sydney, right? Chris Goulden, Bryce Cotton, Vic Law. What's that? How many players I just named right there?
Robert Franks.
Probably 7.
Robert Franks is right in that mix. Averaging. I mean, he had a bad game. Again, they're coming off a bit of a tough stretch. He came
Wolf Creek.
He came into that
Joe
game
Chi.
averaging 20
That's
and 10.
9 players I just named right there. They don't have.
Came into that game averaging
10.
20 and 10.
Yancy Wetzel.
Top 5 in points and rebounds. Lamar Patterson's not in that conversation at the moment.
There's only one player in the top 10 on that
That's unfortunate
team.
because he came into the start of this season looking like he was going to be back at that level. It's been a real roller coaster ride since then. They don't have 3. They do have 2.
All right, let's go to some good news. Talking New Zealand, they had this guy last year, Brandon Ashley. Now he bobs up at South East Melbourne Phoenix. We know the deepness of the Phoenix. They released the import who we didn't get to see play for whatever reason a couple of weeks ago.
Is it depth?
Huh?
Deepness?
Deepness? What do I call it? Did I say deepness? So excited I am. Either which way, whatever bad word I use, this is good for South East Melbourne Phoenix and it's good for the league.
I like Brandon Ashley.
Yeah.
He was really good for the Breakers once he started coming off the bench, and it kind of helped him get acclimatised to the league and deal with his foul issues. I actually thought this was the Jason Kadee won Best Six Man. He was terrific for Brisbane that year. I actually thought Brandon Ashley should have won that award in the 2019-20 season. He's versatile. He can play. Look, you see these highlights. He can play pick and roll. He can play above the rim, but he can also stretch it a little bit. You can play him at the 4 and make that work. And I like his length as a rim protector as well. So they had a bit of an issue with Joe Chi, Dane Pinot, but if one of those guys can't go, you're pretty shallow at the 5 now. And you get into a playoff series against a big, strong team, you don't have the depth required. So they needed to fill this spot. They've done a nice job, Brandon Ashley.
Fantastic pickup. Now he can use all his fouls. You have Big Joe Chi. You don't lose at that position. You still have Dane, like you just said. I think that's a fantastic pick. Phoenix have done a lot of the right things in this offseason with this team. Tommy Greer, Simon Mitchell, the whole front office, they've done a fantastic job. And this is only year 3 within this young organization. I'm really, really excited. And I hope he comes in shape and ready to go, because they're not going to lean on him a lot. It's kind of like the role that he's going, I can see him playing is the role that Ogilvy plays with Illawarra. Come in, just do what you need to do while you're in there, steady the ship, control the paint. You know he can step out and hit the 3 a little bit. He's super talented. It's a former McDonald's All-American. The skill set is high and it's unique for a guy that size in this league. So it's a great pickup, and I'm excited. Yo, listen, the Phoenix, man, I'm excited. This is the team.
It's not easy to be able to
I got a couple of teams, but that team is one of my teams.
It's not easy to be able to get any import, be it in the off-season, to start the season, or to come in and play a specific role off the bench. So you've got to buy in. It's not always easy. And he did that last year. He did that in New Zealand, where he was able to come in off the bench and play that role. Now, I'm not suggesting that he would rather come off the bench than start, but he did exactly what he did last year for New Zealand. It's almost identical what he has to do with Phoenix, who are incredibly deep for the reasons you just pointed out. Deepness, depth, whatever it might be. Look, I don't want to go early with this, but right now, Tommy Greer is probably the favourite for the Administrator of the Year. That's an award that...
That's a fair assessment.
Like they have put this team together perfectly. You're right, only the 3rd year. They learnt from last year where they were so close to making a grand final. Not easy to do. They've put this crew together.
Yeah. Look, my 2 teams.
Yeah.
I got 3 teams.
You got 3? How many you got?
3. My 2 teams, both I have going to the grand final.
Well, who's your other team?
Illawarra.
No, who's your other team? Who you said?
Tassie.
Oh, sorry, Tassie.
Come on now, we on the bandwagon
paying attention.
Yeah, I apologise. I was down there last week. People were asking about you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they said, where's Homicide? I said, I left him at home.
Can I just add into that mix that right now it's really tough on that import market to find guys. One of the reasons is because everybody over there thinks they're about to get a contract.
Yeah, well, everybody is getting a contract.
Do you know what I mean? So they're like, well, hold on, am I going to go... I'm just
hang out over here.
I'm just going to hang out over here. I just saw what Kiefer Sykes just did. I see what happened with Lance Stevenson. So to be able to get a guy of his calibre and a guy who not only is that level of player, but has been playing. He's been playing over in Italy, so he's in shape, he's ready to go, he knows the league. Really, really good pickup.
And this is the thing, and I love this about the NBL for the reasons you suggested earlier, and everyone knows how great the league is. While we've had a really rough month, and the players are feeling it more than anyone, and anyone who's been involved and been ill, we send our good wishes to you. The excitement is again growing. It feels like the restart of the season. We can't wait to see Phoenix back out there. You know, this Sydney Illawarra game, we're going to talk about that in a moment. It just continues to bubble along, and, you know, there's always a blessing in certain situations. It feels like the restart of a season, which gets us all excited, and this is a big one for the league. All right, all thanks to Amy. Santa's been watching. I assume. I hope. He bought one thing last week. One thing.
I saved all my good stuff for when Corey was back.
Well, show us. Fire away.
All right, all thanks to Amy. Santa has been watching. Let's start in Brisbane where Jason, I love a press conference.
Yeah.
Always good stuff from the presser. And then Jason, everything's going well.
Hey.
It all falls. And then this is my man. This is my man, Dan Shamir. Is anyone better dressed on the sidelines than my man Dan Shamir? I'm asking you fellas. I mean,
No.
The t-shirt tucked in combo, this is like House of Gucci sort of
Come
style.
on, man.
Come on, man.
Yo,
The shoes let him down. Come on.
The flyest coach in the league is in Cairns.
He has to wear the team shirt now.
Well, hang on. What's going on here?
Hold on.
He shows the socks.
He shows the
Yeah,
socks.
no, that.
Yeah, he shows the socks. We zoom in. He says, "Here, get a good look." And I like them. They were nice socks.
Yeah.
I think we all know what t-shirt he was wearing though underneath the hoodie, right? We know what t-shirt.
Yeah.
That's what my man was wearing underneath the hoodie.
You know, you may not know this, but it actually saved Liam's marriage because if he had to tell his wife, he put an unscheduled New Zealand trip into the budget. It could have been some real testing conversations. That's Santa's watching. All thanks to Amy. You can hit him up at Liam Santa via all his socials, and if you want to help him out because there's a lot going on. You've only got the one game.
Are you happier with today's?
I'm happy. Well,
Okay, because you're a little critical.
well, of course, it's Santa's watching, and you gave one thing.
It was a long one.
It was a long one. It went on and on and on. I was like, well, where's the punchline? In the end, we finally got to it. But I'm a lot happier with that today.
Good man.
Now, you're not doing power rankings this week, are you?
No.
Okay. It's a
No
little
change
hard.
to the power rankings. No overreactions.
Glad. There might be a power ranking change after this game because we talk about excitement. We finally get back into it, Illawarra and Sydney. And of course, a lot that happens with the build up to the opening game of the year. But what happens? We've got two really good teams going head to head, Liam, and that is the best thing about it. This is how it ended. Of course, a couple of weeks ago, the standover, and away we went, and it just leads us to Thursday night.
One of the great rivalries in the league this season. So just when we just need some games and we need something to really get excited about, all of a sudden, this is the next game on the slate on Thursday night. You're right, did get a little heated down the stretch. There was some feeling right throughout that game. And also, when that sort of war of words took place in pre-season, not the Spygate stuff, but Paul Smith and the scumbags and the idiots, and Gorgon said, look, when they come into town and they bring their gun, we're going to have a cannon waiting for them. So hopefully the Hawkheads pack out the Wynn Entertainment Centre because Jalen Adams is back.
Yes.
Which is huge for the Kings. Both these teams trying to get a little bit of momentum back as we ramp back up. Big game to spark round 7.
Sydney Kings losing that game. Doesn't even matter. That's just all I got. They have no answer for my man Duwop Reith. Grand Finals MVP. Mark my words. Okay? Xavier Rathamaze, they have no answer for him either. Ty Harvey, they have no answer for him. They're not going to win that game. And that's why you got to be careful talking a lot of trash if you ain't got the ammo to really back it up. I don't care if your point guard coming, that's going to be a great look, but it's still not going to be enough. Illawarra for the win.
Two things just quickly. I went through some old tape. The last two NBL seasons,
Yes.
we have both, as a collective, in the start of the year, correctly predicted the MVP of the Grand Final series. Now, Bryce Cotton a couple of years ago, I think you might have went with it. I went with Jock Landale last year, and now you've got... So, like, we're on a heater here when it comes to being able to get the MVP.
Okay.
Secondly, it's not like... I understand what you're saying, Illawarra deserve to start favourites, but Sydney have got a good crew. They've got a good crew together. They put the good. You mentioned Xavier Cooks, who's in the top 10 in the league right now. You get Jalen Adams back. Glover's playing really well. They've got the big boy. Like, it's not like they're rolling in without players. They've got a pretty good crew as well, even though it's hard to go into Illawarra and knock off a team that's extremely talented. These are two talented teams, but I don't think it's as easy as they don't have the firepower to roll in and beat the Hawks.
What we don't know is exactly who is going to line up on game day, right?
So
because anything can happen between now and then. So whether one or two of these...
I'll touch some wood for you, Liam.
One of these teams might be missing, one or two guys. Now, are they going to be really key guys, or are they guys going to be at the end of the bench? We'll have to wait and see. But for me, as long as that kind of big crew of key guys for the Kings is on the floor, Cooks, Martin, and I'm really strongly talking about Jalen Adams, then they're going to have a chance against any team across the league on any night, because their ceiling is really high with that group on the floor, especially Jalen Adams. We sat here last week. Corey, you said you tuned in. We said you can't really judge this Sydney team until Jalen Adams is back out on the floor.
Now, I am on an NBL Overtime tour, solo right now. I'm rolling around the country.
Where are you heading
to? I'm not going anywhere this weekend, but are you free Thursday? You love Illawarra? Are you any chance to be there courtside? Or are you calling the game?
I'll be calling the game.
We got to sort this out. Like I'm travelling the countryside right now.
You can go and represent
Tasmania. I can't go this week. I'm on the Gold Coast, but there is no doubt we'll get to an Illawarra game ASAP. All right. Very rarely do I get serious on this show, like real stare down the camera serious, but I will here as we get into the JD Sports Sneaker of the week, because what we are about to unveil. Now there we go. That JD Sneaker of the week, undisputed sneaker, of course.
Is this what you were getting serious
No,
about?
but these are amazing.
Mikhailovsky's Adidas?
Yeah, I tell you what, they look almost unused. What?
Nothing?
They look great. They're brilliant. I love them, and that is all thanks to JD Sports. The undisputed
Can he get some run?
King of Traders. This is why I'm getting seriously in Santa Maria.
I like that.
Because as you and I both talk about a lot, the best shoe in the history of all shoes,
correct,
the Air Jordan 4, and these are the Red Thunder. Unmissable in the iconic black and red, and you've got to get yours right now. They only drop in men's sizes this Saturday at selected JD stores and via the JD AU app. Make sure you download the app today. Jordan 4 is the best shoe in the history of shoes.
And these are the Thunder?
These are the Thunder!
They are serious shoes.
They are incredible, all thanks to JD Sports, the undisputed king of trainers, and that type of heat proves they are undisputed. All right, replacement players. We see the 10-day hardship right now deal in the NBA, and you mentioned it just moments ago. We don't know who's going to be at any given time be available for certain games. So let's throw it out there. Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved at NBL. Who would you like to see get picked up on a 10-day contract in the NBL? Liam, you want to take it away first?
I reckon we're going to start to see some of these be put into action, because as COVID's raged through a number of teams, there might have been one or two guys who didn't get it.
Yeah.
Who dodged the bullet.
Yes.
And then as the teams now keep progressing, those guys might have to miss, and we're going to have to bring some of these guys into the fold. I like what Cairns did. Marshall Nelson, that's a guy playing at the state league level, has a little taste of NBL, and whose game can translate. The guy that immediately came to my mind thinking about this was Kwani, who we've seen in Cairns and elsewhere around the league. He's playing in Croatia right now, so he's not available. If the Wildcats need a guy, they need to call Greg Gun for Hire to come in, help out. You're not looking for a guy who's going to put up 20 points, just a solid, he's a 4-time champion who can push some guys around. Another couple of names to throw out there, Daniel Dillon. Didn't he finish the season
he did well
last year for Adelaide? And another guy, I reckon the guys that would be good to look at would be guys who are training players. NBL 1, killing it, but then right now are training with teams on the daily basis. A guy like Lachlan Barker is doing that in Melbourne at the moment.
Dominated the NBL 1 at Frankston in a splintered year. So is he at Phoenix, is he?
Yeah, as a training, played in the pre-season.
He's a guy that deserves an opportunity, no doubt. You got one?
I got one.
Hit me.
Former NBA player, former Italian Cup champion.
Go on.
Mango Mathieu is in Melbourne at home. Did a camp with him a couple weeks ago, Christmas Eve, and he's working out. He's in shape. He would be an asset to any team. That is a guy I am not surprised if somebody signs him for the rest of the season.
He's good to go.
He's good to go.
I mean, if Tassie
he's good to
called
go.
up right now.
He's good to go.
I don't know where this guy is at physically.
I think you're just going to move on from Mattiang.
Oh, no, I thought you were still going.
Oh, that's.
I mean, how could you not? Former NBA player.
He's good to go. I can't believe that.
Cup champion, Italian champion.
He's got an agent, right?
Come on.
Well, my point is, why is he sitting in Australia without having a phone call?
There was some
replacement player.
He had to
otherwise?
handle some family business.
Yeah.
That's why he was here.
Yeah.
And family first, so he's handling that. But I was with him the other day. I was just like, dude, you know the league is popping.
Yeah.
What's up?
The injuries in the background?
He's not injured no more. You know what I mean? So it's like, he's like, I'm just like, look, this is a guy that is available. Somebody need to holler at my guy.
They need to sign him as an actual player. Don't worry about replacement and COVID.
No doubt.
Get him in the league. Ty Wesley?
Ty Wesley?
Yeah.
He retired.
Is he in the country?
Well, I don't know.
No.
Oh, hey, I'm just. He has
It
retired.
would be great
Greg
to see
Hires
him
retired.
back, man. That's true. It would be great to see Ty Wesley back in this league. Word. Shout out to you, Ty.
You know,
That would be a great pickup.
But I mean, you're talking about an import, not in the country. I mean, now are we spreading right across the globe?
Well, we've got to go across the globe. That's how we work.
Okay.
Isn't it?
Sure. Let's go.
Hashtag NBL Overtime to get involved at NBL. Hey, of course, the situation with the Boomers and the qualifiers in February, it's complicated for a number of different reasons. But the good news is Rob Beveridge gets an opportunity to be the head coach of the Australian Boomers. Of course, a man no stranger at all to the NBL, and now gets that chance. It's late Feb, isn't it? About a month away anyway. A little bit more. Who would you like to see? It's interesting who's going to play, but NBL players are in that pool. Who would you like to see get the call up?
Well, firstly, can I just say congrats to Rob Beveridge?
Yes.
That's great. This is a guy who's been, a chance to be the Boomers coach for a long time, and now he gets the honour, the opportunity to coach the national team. That's awesome. Great to have Sean Dennis back involved in Australian basketball as well. Mike Kelly, I love that coaching lineup that they've put together. Firstly, let's get those guys that are around the world whose leagues are pausing for the FIBA window. Let's get Nick Kay and Angus Brandt, these guys playing for that team. And then I'd like to see some younger guys. They're important players for their teams here in the NBL, but I'd like to see their team say, you know what, with our blessing, go and have that experience. I'd like to see Luke Travis. Jack White, let's see get him started in the green and gold. And Dejan Vasiljevic as well. You got those
They're
guys?
the first two names I had.
Yeah.
See those opportunities for those kids.
Yeah. Dejan Vasiljevic. I've seen Angus Glover's made some comments to say, I would love to put my hand up. The Kings have always been really supportive with these types of things. They're the types of names I'd like to see on that team.
Do you know what's interesting? With that window, will our league pause or we play
No,
through?
we play through.
So tough because a lot of those guys are key factors with their team. And you wouldn't want to lose your asset and mess around and lose some games. So it's always tough. But good luck to whoever gets selected, and shout out to Rob Bevo. Congrats.
A lot of toing and froing in that regards. Now we're running out of time, but Sykes and Landale have had great weeks, haven't they? Give a shout out.
Big time. So good to see these guys, these former NBL players, playing at a high level in the States. We've seen it in recent years with guys like Jason Tate, Torrey Craig, and now obviously we saw Jock Landale pick up his deal. He's been doing terrific things. This is a great story, Kiefer Sykes. Man, this guy has really been battling for this kind of opportunity. We've seen how much it means to him. Came here, had a great year. His agent, EJ Kuzner, sold him on coming to the NBL. He'd had Jason Tate the year before. So you want to get to the league? This is the league to come through and help you on that journey. He gets out there and doesn't he take advantage of his opportunity? Just so good to see. And now he's got that guarantee.
He is in the Garden. This is the Garden. Madison Square Garden against the Knicks, the Mecca, and does that. 22, 6, and 4. And then after that, not even 48 hours later, the Nets against Kyrie. Dude, 18, 5, and 3.
It was great.
If it's easy to do something once, man. You know what I mean? Good game against the Knicks. Let's see if he can do it again against a premier team. Mind you, though, he had a run with 3 games. Cleveland, Nets, Madison, and the Knicks. Those are playoff contending teams. And he got these minutes and was able to do it. So shout out to you, man.
On that note, is there time for yes or no?
Yes.
No, there is not. We're out of here. #NBL Overtime. See you next week.
Oh, shout out.